Greetings, one and all, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Starfall Collective. We're making our way in with episode 12, and I am joined, per usual, for this Jade 13. I've been told by people with higher levels of technical acumen than myself that we're on episode 13. All right, guys, no TPKs. White knuckling it, fingers crossed. Let's do this. So we are back with yet another episode 13 of the Starfall Collective, Jade, Odyssey, and I am joined, per usual, by my Johnny friends. Tonight, if you would tell folks your character's name, their race, and class, just describe what they look like briefly, something about their appearance. Matt, we'll start with you.
Hello, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, Talamini.com. I believe that website is actually non-functional at the moment because HostGator sent me just tried to put a gigantic charge onto my debit card, and my bank was like, no. And I have to figure out what to do about that. So thanks, HostGator. Thanks, Bank of America. I play Crocular, who is a high elf warlock. He looks like a scrawny, one of those like art kids. He's like a scrawny art kid. He's sort of greasy. Sometimes he has like bits of undead goo falling off of him a little bit because of some minor necromancy he likes to engage in. But he has the sort of burning eyes and greasy texture of a charismatic artistic type.
Excellent. I love it. Thank you very much. Jared.
Hey, my name's Jared. I am playing Ivan, an old and angry man who will not let those bygones go.
Keeping them bygones around.
That's right. He's a man. He's a human.
So a big, grizzled old guy with a hulking black axe with a dark wooden handle.
That's right.
That's right. LT.
Hey, I'm LT. I'm playing as Jim Varden. He is recovering from an accident that has made him an obligate sorcerer. He's human with brown hair, brown eyes, and no hit points.
Just a hair above zero. A non-zero hit point amount.
Yep.
Yeah. And Mr. No Face.
I am playing Inian Tumley, who is a wood elf with classic wood elfin features.
And is this guy a ranger by training?
Nope.
No. Gonna make me go through and guess the D&D
Archer.
major classes?
He's an archer, a fighter. Instead of fighter.
Ah, okay. Very good. A fighter specializing in long-distance pointy things. Lovely. Well, when last we played, action abounded and heartache struck. What were some of the highs and lows of our last engagement that you all remember?
We lost Cohen.
Down.
Got kidnapped by a ninja.
You did indeed. You failed to bring your party as a whole to the Arcanium. You lost one along the way. How did that happen?
Ninja kidnap. There was ninjas on the ship.
Yeah, and they were those one-eye things.
They
One
were
eye.
indeed. They
One-armed
turned out to be
flying purple
Nothics.
people ninjas.
And the trees
Jim
below that
caught
they
one of
took him
those.
into were too dangerous. They wouldn't let us go in there
They're
after
filled
him.
with death
Yes, indeed.
and screams of
The
dying and
great, the forest of the great trees is suicide to venture into alone. It is a place that only a high-level ranger or a very well-equipped party would have any business entering in. Aside, of course, from the native wood elves who call it home. Much like the Fremen in the desert, they know their way around and you don't, and it would be a death wish. So Captain Graham, strictly forbade you from trying to enter into the trees to go after him. He said, if it's possible, we'll see what we can do about trying to send a party after him, or maybe we can secure. I don't know how much detail he went into, but there are ways of trying to find people. And he encouraged you to preserve your lives long enough to make a meaningful go of a rescue rather than throwing it all away on an impetuous dive into the canopy after him. So you guys successfully did a lot to assist in what major skirmish? What happened?
So the
There were-
pirates and ninjas. Oh yeah, go ahead. We're fighting an elven naval ship of some kind.
That's right. An elven naval ship was ambushed by pirates, and you guys successfully helped zot away a number of the big, beefy boys from the pirates' deck. Jim, you pulled that off. Ivan and Crocular and Inion and Pone all fought admirably and tried to, cast from afar and engage in melee. And ultimately, you were able to save the ship, which Captain Graham, again, showed great appreciation to all of you. So you guys find yourselves on a clear night full of stars coming in. You're less than a day away from the Arcanium. And we see many of you doing some minor chores that need to be done. We can see Jim pointing his gun off the side of the ship, aiming at things. We can see Ivan up in the shack, keeping an eye out. We see Crocular over in the corner of the top decks, painting the starry skies with strange, weird, globular objects and mixed entities flitting through the scene of the constellations, and Inion testing out his bow and checking the quality of his string and whatnot. And Graham walks up to you and summons you all to himself and calls you to a meeting on the back of the deck. He looks at all of you and says, hang on a sec. I have to consult the Voicinator 5000. It's been an honor serving all of you and repaying a debt to good friends. I'm terribly sorry for your loss. I know that this comes as a great blow. I'm sure all of you wished to bring your party intact to the Arcanium. Know this, if your friend Pone is as tough as the rest of you, there's some chance, there's some hope that he will be able to hide. Maybe he'll have the good sense to find a hole and burrow down into it. Maybe the wood elves will find him before one of the great creatures do. It's hard to say. But right now, we have a mission to fulfill, and that's getting you into the hands of someone who can take as good care of you as rock and brick. I have a word of advice to you. It's going to be quite chaotic tomorrow when we pull into the docks, so I'm telling you this now. Be kind to the poppers. And he gives you a wink. Everybody, does anybody have a passive insight of 15 or higher? You guys are not the most insightful crew in the world, eh?
Nope.
Graham kind of shakes all of your hands and reminds you that if you need anything, he's here for you. But as you pull up the next morning, you see, or as you sail through the night. Go ahead.
As I shake his hand, Ivan says, "So it's Dom Della Bromble Boo Brighton Bubble Fusen von Elling Weistrap Schnelling Meissen."
Listen, I wouldn't go butchering his name like that. If you can't get it right, I'd call him Dom. Gnomes have a way of getting a bit prickly about these sorts of things. I can give it to you one more time if that helps.
Yeah,
Dom
yeah,
Della
one more
Brombo
time.
Brighton Bubble Fusen von Eilschnap de Schnellingmeissen.
Von Eilschnap.
You see, Ivan pulls out a piece of parchment and scribbles barely intelligible, barely coherent characters.
Okay, I'm sure I got it this time. Thank you.
Best of luck with all that. You see Graham kind of like
Thanks.
raises his eyebrows and puts his
Yeah,
hand to
well,
his...
I'll be kind to the paupers too, so...
You see he kind of
Poppers,
gives
right?
you a flat look for a little bit, which is kind of inscrutable, and then turns away and goes and joins the rest of his crew. You guys sail... You guys sail through the night, and as the first hints of sunrise peek up on the edge of the horizon, just off center, you see an immense, gleaming, bright scattering of the sunlight rays. You see an immense crystalline tower structure rising up out of the canopy. And as you draw closer, you see that the edge of the trees are actually more than a kilometer away from a sprawling, maybe more than a village, about, a town, certainly not a city, but there are clearly thousands and thousands of people who live in settled, brick and stone buildings. It's not hovelly. It looks quite nice. Not palatial, but nice. You can tell that there's money that flows through this town. And this settlement surrounds an immense crystalline tower, and you immediately recognize the hallmark features of the Arcanium. As the light scatters through the crystalline glass, you see, as you draw closer within it, lots and lots of terraces that exist at different platforms inside of this glass structure. You see large lace-like moonstone arches. You see bushes and trees growing in wild, rich, vibrant gardens. You see buildings on the platforms of various different architectural styles. And you can tell that this is the seat of much of the arcane power of the continent. A great deal of the power that is wielded here is not local. There's no kingdoms nearby. This tower is not meant to be the thing that rules the world. It is the place where those of great power come together to form councils in times of great crisis, to make decisions. It is a place of innovation and research, a place that has grown tremendously in the last 100, 200 years as some of the great gnome wizards and mages and sorcerers have joined the ranks of the elves and the humans and other sentient magical beings. And you know that this is the place where Dom Della Brombo Brighton Bubblefusen Von Elschnap has his Mage's Tower within the Mage's Tower. As all of you are hanging off the side and observing, you see that the ship is losing altitude and banking and making a curve. And you can see that it's coming around to a large wooden platformed tower. And a number of these towers are other airships. Some of them look to be even a little bit smaller and sleeker than your own, that are clearly meant for speed. Some of them are 4 times the size of your ship and look to be large lumbering cargo vessels. One of them near the top is a eye-watering MC Escher art piece of rectilinear lines that are nested within one another, and you can't quite tell which overlaps and underlaps, and the longer you look at it, the more of a headache and a sense of nausea you get. Make me a history check, anyone who is proficient, and anyone who's not proficient, you can make it, just do it at disadvantage.
Upon seeing this, Ivan softly swears.
Ah,
7.
at disadvantage, I got 18.
With disadvantage, you got an 18.
Yeah.
7 for me.
Enion points a finger somewhat instinctively and just kind of mutters, not under his breath, but audibly to everyone, but mutters the name Valar. And you know that the Valar are a race of beings who each of their ships is a work of art. It is no two ships look the same, and each one is intended to make a striking artistic statement. Crocular, you kick yourself for not recognizing it sooner. And to you, this is huge. I mean, most people go their whole lives and never even know about the existence of the Valar. The ones who hear the name, many of them think it, a thing of myth and bedtime stories for little children. But you've read some books, and you know and believe that they're real. So make me let's see here.
Enion, real quick,
Go ahead.
says, "Ha, can't believe you didn't recognize that Crocular."
Crocular, make me a religion check, if you would.
Sure thing. 20.
20. Crocular, you know that this, now that you're looking at it and you begin observing some of the features of it, and you realize this is a very geometric, rectilinear, but odd ship. Some of them are not this eye-watering. Some of them are, a monolithic red spike with a helix of fins coming out of it, or perhaps a giant sphere that seems to flutter with lace, things like that. You know that this, being so large and so imposing, is some sort of emissarial ship that is a high envoy of the Valar. You figure it's probably not like the king of the Valar or the emperor of the. You don't know what their power structures are, but you know that this is something imperious meant to show off. It's not just an individual ship; it is a showpiece of the Valar themselves. As you come closer, what's that?
Ship?
Say again?
This is a very important person's ship.
Crocular says out loud to the rest of the crew, sharing the plot exposition that he has recently divinely achieved. As you come closer to the docks and you pull up, you see that there is a buzz among the crew because they've been given permission to actually leave the ship for 24 hours. And a number of them come up to you and shake your hands and thank you yet again for all the help that you provided in the fights that have ensued. And you see Neri comes hobbling out on a crutch. Clearly one of his legs was badly broken, and he's still, that bone is still setting and he's still recovering. But he walks up to you, Jim, and he apologizes. You see that he tries to apologize, and you can see that he begins crying kind of inconsolably and can't even really get a word out.
Remind me what he apologizing about?
So
I feel like I actually know that.
Sure. So you see that he so he tries to apologize to you, and he walks away from you and wanders over to Ivan and tries to apologize to you as well, and breaks down in tears yet again. You know that Neri was involved somehow in the snatching and absconding with 5,000 gold that the captain tried to give to Ivan, but Ivan left behind. And then Neri followed you all to the Smuggler's Cove and attempted to climb the tree and recover the object that Crocular had just mage-handed up into the tree. Pone
The
kept
cursed
saying,
dagger.
that's right. There was a box with a cursed dagger in it. You guys took the money out of it. Do you guys remember what was in there?
I remember the cursed dagger and the
Okay.
money.
I don't.
Fair enough. And Neri tried to, curiosity got the better of him, and he tried to get it. Crocular ended up firing. So Pone said, "It's fine. Take it if you want." And Ivan said, "You can't bring that thing on the ship. It's doomed. Don't do it." Neri listened to Pone because Pone was who he had a close relationship with.
Yeah.
And Crocular ended up firing a firebolt up into the canopy of the tree. And whether you don't know quite whether he hit Neri or not, but Neri went flying out of the tree, fell from 30 feet, and being such a small guy, that blew through all of his hit points. So he is unconscious and bleeding out. Since then, when he came back to the ship, he was soundly scolded and shamed by his elders. So you can tell that Neri is feeling the weight of his misdeeds and somehow feels responsible for, maybe Pone's disappearance. You've guessed that that's got to be what it is, because he doesn't seem to just feel bad about what he did. He seems to be quite broken up, and Pone has recently been kidnapped. The elders of the Ratkin come up to you, Ivan, and say, "Neri's actions are his own, and his shame is his own to own. But we have spoken about it, and we can't help but feel that he has wronged you in many ways, interfering in your business, causing complications, taking what he should not. We feel that he owes it to you to serve you, if you will have him."
You can tell Ivan looks uncomfortable, but instead of saying no, he looks over at Jim and kind of shrugs at Jim like, "What do you think?"
You could make him your ensign, or some kind of not as a slave, but as a job.
Not a very good servant. Couldn't keep his hands off the cursed jewelry.
You see Neri overhears that he's got huge rat ears, right? And you see his ears kind of tilt in the direction of Crocular, and you see he just drops his head.
Yeah. I think
look,
maybe he's learned.
Ivan looks down at the rats about his knees, if they come up to that, and says, "Look, I think if he comes with us, he's going to be crying a whole lot more."
That seems.
You see the elders kind of look at you and say, "We didn't think that you would want to take him. He is, as you say," and he looks at you, Crocular, "unreliable." And with that, you didn't think that this poor little ratkin his spirit could be broken anymore. He looks like he's about to melt into a puddle on the floor, and you see him hobble quickly away. Enion.
All right, we're taking him.
You see,
when
he's about a foot and a half tall.
When that's said, Ivan kind of feels like, oh, he probably belongs with us then. Those who have recently come out of the insane asylum.
Neri looks over at you, Enion. You say, "He can ride in my backpack." And he scurries over and just scampers up your side. He jumps up on one good leg, grabs onto the edge of the backpack, and scurries in. Enion, make me a perception check, if you will.
Perception check. Wait, why am I rolling? Where do I push perception? There it is. 15.
15. Okay, very good. I will let you know what's going on there in a bit. Let me just make a note of something. Secrets are so much fun. Secrets give me power over someone. Excellent. All of you are elders. There are 2 or 3 of them. Look at all of you and just kind of give you a, all right, if that's what you want, kind of look, and bow to you and scamper away. The ship has fully. Go ahead.
What does he like to do? How do you think he can help us?
Say this to one of the elders before they leave.
Yeah.
They look at you and say, he might not be the most reliable of sorts, but I will give it to you. I will give it to him. He's full of... He's a self-starter. Quite clever. Quite sneaky. I mean, I realize that I'm describing rats in a way that you would think would be really offensive to a ratkin, naming all these rat features, but it's true. He's good at infiltrating. He's keen eye, keen ear, stealthy enough to follow all of you, from what I gather. So
maybe we'll find use for a burglar.
You see 2 of the elders look absolutely scathed by what you said, and they kind of turn around and harumph away from you, unavailable to be consorted with anymore. And then the remaining one kind of looks at you and goes, the shoe fits. Yeah. He begins to walk away.
How should we return him when we're done?
Return him? We have no need or use for him. Had you not taken him in, he would have been excommunicated from the clan anyhow. We are done with him. He has shamed himself for the last time in the name of our family. We may be ratkin, we may be small, but what we have in great measure is honor. Well, in some measure, is honor. There are several honorable ratkin. Honestly, there are several dishonorable ratkin, but, that's what we strive for. Are we done here?
Yeah.
He kind of stopped, embarrassed, having to be the last person to interact with you. You can tell, you get the vibe that the ratkin elders were quick to be rid of him and to wash their hands of him one way or the other. As you disembark from the deck, you make your way. Go ahead. What's up?
Those guys are weird.
Yep, that's right. The real litmus test for normal. That's what you guys are. Is there anything that anybody else does before leaving the ship?
What about that little chef lady? She doing all right?
Yeah. You guys go over and find. Oh shucks! Hold on one sec. I don't remember them off the top.
She's the sister of this guy, right?
Yeah.
No, Neri is a ratkin. You're thinking
Neri,
of, I think it was like Finn and Trillia.
Oh yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Trillia, Ritus.
Yes, Trillia and Ritus. You see that Ritus and Trillia are staying on the ship. They are quite intimidated by the prospect of walking around in the Arcanium. They're little folk. And you see that Trillia and Redis, there was an older halfling named McDermish. You see that McDermish, you notice over the last few days that McDermish and Redis and Trillia seem to be spending a lot of time together, the three of them. And McDermish seems to have really taken them under his wing. They really did need an actual adult guardian. Not that Redis is not competent and sound-minded for his age, but for a halfling, he's pretty young. Certainly too young to be Trillia's primary guardian. So you check
That's
in
right,
with them.
kids. That goes for the real world too.
You need a guardian. So McDermish, I've got his name right here. Yeah, McDermish thanks all of you again profusely, especially you, Jim, and Inion, for all of your help getting Trillia legitimized and accepted with the crew. Crocular, they don't thank you because they don't know what you did, putting Trillia's name into the books without knowing. So you tell me whether that's a chip on your shoulder being left out of the sincere personal thanks. But
I don't think Crocular notices the sincere
sounds like
personal
Crocular.
thanks.
Yeah. He says to you, Jim, I don't have much in the way of coin to be thanking you, but here. And he presses a piece of paper into your hand, and you see that it's alchemical instructions for some sort of potion. And you look at it and you realize, you know what? If I keep my eyes peeled for that, I could probably find most of these things. You recognize all the elements on there. And it actually has detailed instructions, enough so that if you make me a few nature checks through your travels, you might be able to actually make this. And he says,
Thank you.
Go ahead. He says, I haven't titled it or anything, and I haven't put my name to it. Truth be told, I'd be disowned by my own people for sharing such family secrets, but make this the first chance you get. Trust me, you take that before a scrap, it'll do you some good. And he winks at you.
Thank you.
Do you happen to know what a pauper is?
A pauper? Just a poor person begging in the streets, a man or woman in rags, destitute, beholden to the goodwill of strangers as they pass.
Oh, right. Okay.
Not a boy of books, are you? He kind of gives you a little bit of a wink, knowing that he just mildly insulted someone who's like 8 times his body mass.
Well, Ivan's going to turn and head towards that big tower.
Yeah, so as all of you disembark and start working your way down the ramparts of the docking tower for airships, you see that there are large, burly dock workers, a lot of half-orcs, and a lot of large men with poles running between their shoulders with large crates suspended underneath, ferrying crates of goods up and down. You see one cage that you hear a fearsome snarl from within it, and you figure, there's got to be some sort of beast or monster in there. It looks like it's taking 10 men to carry it down. As you get to the bottom of the platform, you kind of step out onto a large plaza that is surrounded on all sides by carts and shops, and you see that there are several roads leading away. And you all kind of look at each other, and who's the first to break the silence?
This is so. I think has Crocular has been here before, right? This is where my education took place.
Yeah, so
Around here
Crocular
somewhere.
Yeah, Crocular certainly spent at least a couple of years. We haven't really established exactly how long he managed to sustain an academic tenure in such a place, but at least a year. So he is somewhat familiar. You look around and you know that there are a handful of inns and taverns that you could try to crash in tonight. There's the Dappled Pond, the Singing Serpent, Tolliver's, the Burnished Bucket, and Tag in the Box. These are kind of some of your options for where you could stay. You know that there are plenty of shops around, and everybody else, take off your headphones for about 15 seconds, except for Enion Tumley, Mr. No Face. You ready?
Ha!
Enion, with that 15 perception check, you realize that Neri had a bag of about 5,000 gold pieces with him on his person. You heard the chink and tinkle of gold as he was climbing
And
into your book bag.
Felt the amazing weight gain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it weighed as much as him. So mark 5,000 gold on your character sheet, please.
Okay.
Secrets are so fun. Secrets. Let me have.
Crocula wants to catch up on the hot goss in the art community.
Ooh.
Can we pass any galleries?
Yeah. So you see that there is a gaggle of people surrounding a earth genasi with a set of chisels, who is working on a 8-foot tall, 4 feet wide giant monolith of moonstone. You see it glows and shimmers and has opalescence to it. And you see that this figure is carving something that looks like it looks sort of strange and grotesque. It looks like kind of a humanoid figure, and he's still in the rough hewn stages of it, but it looks like a person with like 5 arms and 2 heads and 3 legs, but it's still got a very discernible humanoid torso and shape to it. And you see that there are a number of folks who are just kind of furious and steaming mad. You know, they're kind of giving it dirty glances, and sometimes they spit on the ground. They clearly have a great deal of contempt for this. And you see others who are just curious, and a few who kind of whisper to each other and give each other, "Oh yeah." Clearly, they're very positive and happy about something. And they're kind of tittering to each other.
Is it good art? And by good, I mean, would ancient Athens hang Socrates for corrupting the youth with this art?
You don't know yet. You know, you haven't seen. This is just what you're getting for free, kind of walking up to it and observing. You know, you have 2 eyes and a heart, right? So you can appreciate Coldplay and see what's happening here, right? Sorry, I mixed metaphors there. Yeah, so you see that some people are happy with it, some people are mad, but as you're observing it, make me I'll say either what's something that's intelligence based. I'm going to say this is no, I don't know. I think you're a charisma based.
My art is charisma based. I am not smart.
Yeah, make me a charisma based check with proficiency. I'm trying to figure out what this would be. I know that you would be proficient at it as a warlock and an artist, like you've taken art as your warlock pack basically. So let's just call this a proficiency positive charisma check.
Okay, so my charisma is +4, proficiency bonus is +2. So should I roll with +6?
You should.
All right. 18 plus 6 is going to be 24.
You recognize very quickly that this person, that this earth genasi, you see the kind of stony, pebbly texture to their skin. and the kind of pineapple quartz eyes in their face, you recognize that they are making a statue that has Kyrenic elements to it. And you go, no wonder certain, and you realize, oh yeah, the people that are most, acerbic towards this art piece are the more religious types. You start spotting holy symbols or the garb of, priestly class folks, clerics and whatnot. And the folks who are more in favor of it seem to be dressed. Some of them are dressed in finery, some of them are poor, but none of them have any sort of religious sigils on their clothing or lapels or anywhere on the person.
Okay, so I turn to my friends, and taking a sort of a tour guide posture, say, as you can see, the piece we have in front of us is neither creative nor interesting, playing on the base desires. Those who dislike it are Philistines. Those who like it are twice the Philistines. Those who hate it.
Wow. You
And
say this. Go ahead.
Those with any taste at all, merely note it and move on. It is Kyrenic in nature. You may wish to observe the currents of aesthetic pressures and fault lines moving throughout the city.
As soon as you say the name Kyrenic, you notice that a young man, about maybe 14, 15, 16 years old, kind of his eyes whip over at you and his eyes narrow, and he goes darting off through the crowd. And you notice a couple of more people heard Crocular say the term Kyrenic, and you see a number of them kind of they kind of pull back a little bit, and you see that about maybe 10% of the crowd scatters after a susurrus ripples through it.
Can I do something before?
You can do whatever you want, my man.
Before
this is D&D.
Before the person who's darting away from us passes more than 30 feet away, or do they start more than 30 feet away?
No, I'll say they're close enough to hear you. You're just talking to your friends, right? You're not. How loud are you being when you do this tour guide thing? Are you trying to get the artist and the whole crowd to hear you, or just your friends?
I'm not speaking quietly.
But you're not shouting to try to overcome.
I'm not trying to get everybody's attention, but I'm also speaking clearly.
Not quietly. Yeah, your friends need to hear you, and there's a lot going on. So, yeah, I'll say he's less than 30 feet away.
Okay. Can he make a DC 9 strength saving throw?
Oh, sure.
Actually, hold on. I think it's still going to be a strength saving throw, but I think the DC will be slightly different for this other thing I'm going to do. Where is it? Here we go. DC 14.
He fails. He rolls an 8 and gets a 7. This is a -1 simple common lad.
My mage hand, which is capable of pushing,
indeed,
has pushed him 5 feet towards me.
Okay.
Sort of grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and pulled him back towards me, and it's trying to sort of hold him.
So you see that the lad tries to run, and after he makes an initial, he moves a few feet, and Crocular quickly, instinctively kind of yanks him back. Now, is there a somatic and verbal component to this spell for you, or is it entirely silent and without external affect.
Normally, Mage Hand would require such like of that, but I took the telekinetic feat, so I can cast Mage Hand without verbal or somatic components, and I can make the spectral hand invisible.
Interesting.
Also, I can, yeah, it's my Mage Hand is special. So I grab the kid with my Mage Hand, and I say to Ivan,
Now, hang on, time out. Is your mage hand capable of grappling and restraining someone, or is it only capable of pushing them 5 feet?
uh,
I don't care who you are. This is good audio.
so technically what I can do is push him 5 feet toward me.
Okay, very good. So you see him begin to run. You push him 5 feet in your direction, and I'm going to make him roll a wisdom saving throw to see whether this startles him to the point that he kind of freaks out and stops, or whether he keeps running off. Okay. Yeah, so you see he squints his eyes at you and goes to run, and suddenly is lifted up off of his feet a little bit and thrown backwards towards you. And he lands and kind of freezes, and you can see a look of real terror in this young man's eyes. He marked you, he made eye contact with you, tried to run away, and was yanked off of his feet back in your direction. And he doesn't have the presence of mind to realize he's no longer being restrained. He's standing there in fear of being further, touched by whatever unholy invisible force you've used on him.
So I want to say to Ivan, just real quick, while I'm mage handing this person, Ivan, somebody is trying to tell somebody else that we're here. You may want to go talk to him. And I will, ready an action to do mage hand again if he tries to run again.
This is a lovely moment. All I can think about is the Imperial Marshal on the Firefly ship looking at Mal and going, "What on earth have you hired that man for?" And Mal says, "Public relations." So Crocular has asked Ivan to have a conversation with this young man. Ivan, you see that there's a lad. He's not dressed in finery. He's not dressed in rags. He seems to be just kind of a good, honest, obviously well-fed, decently clothed child of adults who take good enough care of him, but and he is terrified and is kind of not quite shaking, quivering, but you can tell he is rattled. And
if possible, I would like to try to
fear.
communicate to the others quickly that the situation we're in is we came into town. We saw
I say hang on, time out, because we're kind of starting to go into bullet time here. You've said one thing to Ivan. Ivan, right. You've got a moment to respond, react.
Fair enough.
What do you do? Crocular has said, this young man is trying to tell other people about us.
While he's thinking about what he's going to say, I shoot him with a grappling arrow.
Woohoo! Tell you what, Enion and Ivan, you're still muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Can we take a step back too and even determine if Ivan's there? Ivan was heading straight towards the tower, and he wasn't particularly looking to see if Crocular was still with him.
Okay.
If Jim did something to coordinate us, maybe he would be there, but he would not have accompanied. He wouldn't have naturally accompanied Crocular to some art studio.
Sure. Okay, so you guys have wandered apart. At this point, you are a couple of minutes apart. Ivan has started wandering down a major boulevard. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science or technical knowledge of blueprints to figure out how to get to the Arcanium. It's over there, right? And so you start to follow some major boulevards and thoroughfares, and you're walking along beautiful granite and marble, and it looks like they're all different kinds of stones that make this kind of beautiful patchwork of stones that are all, like the Via Appia. These are all large stones that are laid down. They're a little bit smaller. Each one seems to be about the size of a bread box, about, maybe a 1.5 by a foot. But as you walk along this stone walkway towards the Arcanium, you can see up ahead a beautiful, palatial, crystalline, and metal interwoven set of gates. And you see about a dozen elven guards with, shining mithril armor with large leaf-like protrusions coming off of their epaulets, huge halberd weapons that have blades with what appear to be something like steel, razor sharp steel feathers coming off the sides. And that's what you're walking up towards when Crocular turns and says, "Ivan, would you..." Ivan? And Ivan is not there. So we will cut back to the action with Crocular, who has pulled this young man.
25 hit.
And Inion, yes, a 25 hits. And from about 12 feet away, Inion whips out his bow, and you see a giant spectral spider about the size of a dinner plate. Roll me a d20, Dwight.
D20. 10.
10. It hits him right around the midsection, right below his ribs, right above his waist. And you see that these arms kind of get longer and wrap around him. And you now have a line of thread going from this young man's middle to yourself. And it is kind of in your palm, in your grip, so to speak. And you can see there's kind of a ethereal, spectral length of spider silk that it looks like it's wrapped around his hand. And so he's holding on to this young man. You see a number of other people in the crowd scream, and you see that this corner of the crowd around the art piece scatters.
I got him for you, and I hand the end of the rope to Crocular.
Okay. So, Crocular, you are now holding a silken line leading to a terrified young man who has a giant spider wrapped around his midsection. Jim.
How visible is that statue from the path that Ivan was taking?
At this point, Ivan is
just
around the corner and minutes away.
When we diverge, because I'm trying to figure out if I went with Ivan or not.
Yeah, Ivan probably heard Crocular say, "Oh, look over there, art," and Crocular wandered in that direction. Jim, you think that you may have gone with Ivan so that he didn't go alone?
If I could see that artwork, I probably went that way.
Yeah,
if I could see it from the path. Okay.
That makes sense.
I probably would have looked over and then followed up Crocular.
So far, Ivan might not even know that you're with him because Ivan is a big, sturdy guy who is just charging through this crowd, and you're probably struggling to catch up a little bit. Yeah. So we see Jim catching up to Ivan.
No. I would be with Crocular and Enian. Basically, if I could see the statue from where we started, where we diverged, then I would have gone towards the statue.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Ivan is off by himself. Crocular, Enion, and Jim are together. Very good. So the edge of the crowd disperses, and you see people kind of not sprinting for their lives, but they're like, making a break for it. Crocular, it's your play, man.
Yeah, Crocular is, I suppose, holding a rope with a child attached.
You have the rat by the tail.
Great. So what's going to happen now is he gets to make a wisdom DC 14 wisdom saving throw.
All right. Oh, you squint your eyes and begin to try to peer into his mind, and immediately you feel.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what?
What?
Actually, the target initially does not have to make that saving throw.
Ah, okay.
That's for later. So
it's
I
only
cast
later. Okay.
I cast Detect Thoughts, and I can read the thoughts of certain creatures. First, I get his surface thoughts. Just
His
for
surface
casting the
thoughts
spell.
are, "Oh, Palor. Oh, sweet Palor. I know I've never prayed to you before, but Palor, great champion, great rebuffer of," he doesn't say rebuffer, "great enemy of Karen, deliver me from the hands of this wicked Karenite who is going to surely turn me into some sort of frog, toad,
Great. So this kid thinks that I'm a Karenite because I
Oh,
said
yeah.
the word Karen.
Yes.
Okay. So I say to the kid, Karen sucks.
Okay, so surface thoughts go, wait, then why do they want him?
Okay. I'm going to probe deeper and find out who it is who wants me.
So you
and
push.
now this target has to make the wisdom saving throw.
This kid rolls a natural 20. You go, who wants me? And you get, it startles you, and your hold on his mind wavers, and you feel almost like a physical shove, and he pushes you off in the magic space. And you kind of snap to, and you see him begin wriggling and screaming, crying, "Help! Help! City guards! Help!" Hang on one sec. "Heroes of the Crescent, help! Help!" Sorry, I had to remember the specific title that he uses.
So the spell ends when he succeeds on that saving throw.
Yep.
So I say
He
to
needs
the
to
kid,
make another DC 20 if he wants to get out of the rope.
He just made his big check for the round.
"Oh, okay, sure." And I say, "Kid, I'm not with Karen. I'm not trying to do anything bad. I'm just looking for this guy named Dom Delabamba, and he's a gnome. I'm an artist. I was looking at the art. It seems like it's bad art that's influenced by Karen, and that's all."
You
Who's after
see,
me?
everybody make me a perception check.
What is going on? Half of this conversation is in the kid's head.
22.
Okay.
Let's see. Perception, you said?
Uh-huh.
11.
Okay.
2.
2?
Ron
Yep.
So
Tumley is the insightful one around here.
Enion, you see a figure in a what looked like just kind of an old lady walking along. You see the cloak fly off, and you see that the hair on top of her head shifts just a little bit as she throws the top of her cloak off. With that 20, you see through it, you recognize that this figure is some sort of, this is somebody in a disguise, and you see them reaching for a weapon and pulling it out. Everybody roll for initiative.
I didn't hear. I recognize what?
You recognize that this figure is disguised. That that this is not an old woman. You see her, the hair shifts, maybe just an inch over, but you catch it, you clock it, and you see that underneath their robe with a 20, you catch the subtle but unmistakable motion of a figure drawing a dagger, a crossbow, something. You can see that they've drawn a weapon. So, what is initiative, please? If you're 20 or above, 15 or above,
18.
Okay. Okay, give me just one sec. Okay. 15 or above. Okay. And everybody else?
12.
Okay.
7.
Okay. Oops. Sorry. Who was... Oh, Crocula. Right. Sorry. Very good. Enion, you see this figure attempting to arm themselves, who has given away their true identity. What's your move? What do you do?
I fire a disarming arrow at them. Well, I fire at them, and I might make it a disarming strike. Oof. Does a 10 hit?
10 does not hit. Your arrow flies wide.
Then use my action surge.
You see a figure far into the crowd who cries out. You see they've got an arrow sticking out of their leg.
Oh.
That's fine with me. Sorry, it's not action surge. What's it called? Yeah, action surge.
Okay.
So fire again.
I wonder if Dom Delabrambo can get us out of prison.
Dang it. How about a 14? Does that hit?
That does not hit. The same guy, another arrow sticks into his leg. He screams and hits the deck and starts crawling behind some barrels.
That guy's destined to join the city guard.
I took
right.
2 arrows to the same knee.
Oh boy, polygamist. All right, Jim.
Enion, watch out with that.
That's what I do. I put
Is
arrows.
it clear to
in
me
people.
that? Is it also clear to me that there's somebody drawing on us? Like I see him shooting off into the distance.
With
into
such
the
a
crowd
high,
wildly.
with such a high perception score, Enion quickly goes over there, and then fires. So I'm sure Enion
I can
would
tell he's missing that
instinctively.
guy.
Yeah, Enion with such a high roll, he instinctively makes the party aware of the information with such
And
a
how
high
far
roll.
away is that person?
He's about 25 feet away.
Oh, let's see. What will I try to do with this guy? Yeah. I think I am gonna take a pass actually, and because I'm like, what's going on, and I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to.
So tell me, what is your focus?
My focus is one. Enion shoot like this. This kid gets yanked over and shot, and then suddenly suddenly Enion's just basically shooting into the crowd, and I think I'm just kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah, so you got it too. So you look over and you see that Enion has shot the same person 2 times who is crawling away behind a barrel. Yeah. So as far as you know, Enion just shot and rebuffed some sort of incrutal to the situation.
Yeah. I think I just don't know what's happening yet.
Okay.
That guy right there, that guy.
Why are you shooting him?
Crocular, it is not yet
the
your
one
turn.
I shot, I missed.
It is not yet your turn, but I need you to do something for me. Make me a perception check. If you're proficient in it, make it. If you're not proficient, do it with disadvantage.
Let me tell you first that my passive perception is 12, but I 7 for that perception check.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Crocular, you and Jim are looking at this man that Enion has shot twice in the leg and is crawling behind a barrel, and you're confused because he didn't look at all threatening and he was kind of far away. you hear behind you a and a splatter and a gurgle, and you whip your head around and you see that this young man's throat has been slit wide open and he is gushing lifeblood to the ground. He will be dead in seconds.
Whoa.
Actually, I need to check that. Let me see if he even survives. Yeah, this kid, you see that the life has left his eyes. He got opened up so badly that within just a few seconds, you can see that he's dead.
What? And it, like his
The
throat
one
just
that
opened up?
was, it was tied
The
up.
one that is being held by your spider arrow.
She probably killed him. Get that old lady. It's not an old lady.
Everybody make new perception checks. DC 18.
Probably
If
gonna
anybody
fail
makes that, let me know.
I don't.
Yeah, I do. I got a 21.
21. Crocular, you may be confused, but you actually see the figure that slit this boy's throat. You can see what looks like they're in a dark, not black, right? Because that would kind of stand out and look a little insidious, but a dark brown, slightly drabby cloak, and they look to be a halfling or a gnome or a ratkin or one of those races that's real little. This is not just a small person. This is some by nature short race who is fleeing the scene.
Wait, what is this person doing?
They are fleeing the scene. The person
How
who
do
just
I-
slit this boy's
Oh,
throat.
okay, great.
You see, because you see kind of a line of
Yeah.
dust,
Okay,
and you can tell that this
is it
person
my turn?
is skedaddling. Yes, it is your turn.
Okay, so I say, Asylum Psychos, book it, and I dash in Ivan's direction, presumably towards Dom Della whosoever.
Sure.
I just run. I run. I take the dash action and start running.
Excellent.
I yell to the others, let's run.
Everybody who is running together, tell me who has the highest passive perception.
Not me.
13.
12.
13. Okay. Enion, you actually see with the assistance of Crocular, he points out to you the figure who is running away. You see, you're able to get onto his path. So you guys, as a group, are now sprinting through a crowd. You are having to bounce into and push away people. You're jumping over dogs that are wandering in your path. You're knocking over children. You're bouncing off of crates.
We're sliding underneath people who are carrying mattresses.
That's right. That too. There's actually some people carrying
And
some mattresses.
giant panes of glass.
Huge panes of glass.
So we are now
I'm falling behind because I'm not an elf.
You guys are now in a contested skill check. So I want you guys to tell me, each of you are going to do one thing here. I want you guys to tell me what you think your character would do in a situation like this to be helpful to your group when it comes to catching up with this guy. and presume doing whatever it is that you're going to do.
Wait, are we chasing the guy or are we running away? I was under the impression that we're running away.
He's actually moving in that kind of general direction of the crowd anyway. So Enion and Crocular are charging off in that direction, and you find yourself maybe naturally going, a few degrees off course, but I'm guessing instinctually you're probably running with them. So the three of you guys are all just running. You guys tell me, what skill would Crocular, Enion, and Jim use to successfully navigate the crowd, catch up with this guy, do all that kind of stuff?
All right, I've got an idea.
Yes.
But this depends on whether or not those of us in the party, like, we all got together and talked about where we were going beforehand, right?
No, we don't have a scene of that. We've gone bullet time moment for moment. There's been no conversation about where you're going to go yet. Crocular charged off into the crowd looking at art.
But what we're doing is we're going to Dom Delabrambo, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's
I'm sure everybody's in agreement that that's a general priority.
And, I don't mean, and so that's our current overall, not like in this chase scene, but like overall, we know that we're headed from the ship to Dom Delabrambo, and the other guys know where that is, right?
They know where the Wizard's Tower is.
Yeah.
And they're
assuming, I mean, you're putting together a logical inference that a great wizard would be in the Wizard Tower. But that's about it.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to figure out is whether or not we all know that our destination is the same place.
I do not think that such a thing is known. We have role-played moment by moment what you guys have been doing. You've had opportunities to have conversations like that, but so far that just hasn't been the focus of what you guys are talking about.
Okay, I had assumed that when we left the ship, we were going to Dom Delabrambo.
The Arcanium. Yeah.
The Arcanium.
Sure, I think that's what everybody assumed. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no plan on how to get there. There's not a particular rendezvous point. You don't know where that place is. But yes, you are all trying to get to Dom Delabrambo.
In that case, my first plan is less likely to work. So what I'm going to do instead is never mind. Somebody else go first. I have to think of another one.
That's fine. Jim or Enion, is there anything that you guys would do, any skill that you would use, or ability that you would use that would help you catch up?
I'm thinking I would use my investigative powers to try to find holes in the crowd that we can get through.
I'll give you... All right, I'll let you use investigate in a on-the-spur kind of sense to try to make a sort of logic. Is investigate an intelligence-based skill?
Yeah.
Then that's appropriate. I'll let you use it in this case. I wouldn't always. Normally, that'd be a perception thing, but you are trying to make a sort of a tactical inference about...
Right.
You're trying to Sherlock Holmes read the crowd, right?
Yeah.
Come up with a little tactical advantage. All right, go for it.
Ooh, fancy. 21.
Ooh, yeah. You see up ahead that this fool is about to get cut off by a whole stack of mattresses that are being carried vertically. And you realize that if you guys go ahead and dodge right in front of this mule cart, that there's not going to be a good way for this guy to dodge, and he's going to get pinned in for a moment at least. So you kind of point your finger off to the side. Everybody make me DC 10 dexterity saving throws.
Ooh, bad for me.
12.
14.
Jim? Uh-oh. He's like, no, I refuse your instruction. All right, that's okay. But two of you made it. Two of you needed to. So, we see that Jim kind of points in that direction, but actually stumbles a little bit shortly after pointing. And Enion and Crocular grab him and keep him flying as a group. And all of you see through the kind of gaps in the wagon train that's running here, this figure suddenly kind of like he's looking left and right and he's throwing his hands out and he's dropped down a little bit. Everybody make me a perception check with disadvantage. Ivan, would you mind rolling for Jim in his absence? Give me a would you mind rolling in Jim's absence? Roll a disadvantaged perception check.
15.
Ooh, 15. Okay. Crocular?
8.
8. Ivan, anything better than a 15? Oh, here's Jim.
I got an
Go
18
ahead, Ivan.
with that dex.
His dex was 18.
And Ivan, what was the number you rolled with disadvantage?
7.
Are we back to Ivan?
7. Okay. So, Jim, you got snatched along with Crocular and Enion. You pointed it out, but then you kind of went flat-footed because you didn't quite know what to do next. But the two of them grab you and keep you moving so you don't lose speed. And with a 15 Enion, you see that this figure is a halfling.
Okay, so I have a skill check to do.
Okay.
Once we get past the mattresses, presumably there's like a brief moment where our pursuer cannot see us. We're out of view for just a minute.
Yeah, you're running parallel to him at this point.
So I'm going to say loudly, make the next right, guys.
Okay.
But I'm going to gesture to them to go left instead.
I love it. Classic
make
Kansas City Shuffle. Make me a deception check. Absolutely. Give yourself a +2 bonus because I love just the simple brute force simplicity of it all.
Well, I'm afraid to say it's really bad. It's 4 + 6 + 2 is going to be 12.
12. Hey, that's he could lose to that. Let's see. Yeah. You see you say that, but then he does, in fact, you see kind of like for a split second, he considers, and then he doesn't do the thing that would be in reaction to your claim. He runs away in a way that's running away from you as you're trying to catch him and everything.
We're trying to catch him?
No. But it is your turn. You guys are just on the other side of a small mound of lockers. They look like big kind of leather wrapped wooden chests with big kind of padlocks keeping them closed. It's some sort of good, that looks like it's probably packed in straw inside of this, but it looks like it's, good 5-6 feet off the ground. So it'll take a bit of effort to get over. But he is just on the other side.
A little bit of effort to get over. Will I have that? How's a 16 athletics check do to climb us all over that thingamabooples?
With the 16 Enion, you climb up in time. You clamber up there. You put your foot on one thing and bound up to the top in the next motion, and you see that he's already heard you and is trying to run away, but his weight has dropped. He's not yet launched off of a foot, so you've got a chance to do something.
Can I grab him?
Tackle?
Yes.
What's that?
You throw. I'm going to say with the 16, you can use that
as
a single check. You climb up and you see him, and you just instinctually keep your momentum going, and you throw yourself off the top of the chest, and you land on him, and the two of you hit the ground. Crocular, Jim, which of the two of you do you think goes next?
Probably Crocular.
Crocular.
Okay. I'm not pursuing anybody. I'm
Okay.
running away. I told everybody to run away. We're going towards the wizard's tower, so I continue running towards the wizard's tower. I don't care about this person.
Okay, so Crocular
I want this person
keeps
far
going.
away from us.
Crocular keeps going. Jim, one of your friends has dived off of a small mound of crates, and the other has just kept running in a straight line. What do you do,
Yeah.
Jim?
Most
5,
of Enian seems like he's going crazy.
4.
I'm going to say, Enian,
3.
let's go.
And then do you stand there and wait for him, or do you keep running?
I not dash speed, but like half that.
Just your regular movement.
Just
you use your
regular
movement to keep running.
Yeah.
All right, so Jim,
come
you're a
on,
few
come
feet
on.
behind Crocular, but you're on his heels. The two of you are running away. Enion, you hear Crocular saying, "Come on, guys, keep going," and Jim saying,
It sounds just like
you
him.
know, "Come on, let's go." But you can hear their voices disappearing into the crowd in the direction of the tower.
Do I think that the guy in my backpack can take this halfling?
Absolutely not. You have a broken-legged, 15 to 25
leg.
pound, 1.5 foot tall little wisp of a fellow.
I put this halfling under my arm like I'm carrying a satchel and follow after Jim.
All right, in order to pull that off, I'm going to say that you need to succeed on a contested check. I know that this isn't strictly speaking the rules, but this is roughly in your favor, but it gives him some kind of opportunity to resist what's happening here. He's going to make a check, an athletics check against you, and if you beat, fully pick him up off the ground and just run with him freely.
Gotcha. What? And I'm making athletics also, or
You're making an athletics check. Yeah, this guy gets a 13.
12.
Okay, so you go to try to pick him up and run. You've got two choices. You can either run away or continue to hold on to him, but you're not moving. You've got a split-second choice.
Can I give him just an unarmed strike?
No, you can either
Punch him.
hold on to him or keep. Or
I will
run.
hold on to him, and then
right.
I will give him an unarmed strike.
Okay.
Side of the head.
That was your action to try to get up and run with him. So he is in your arms, and he is going to try. He's going to initiate, and he initiates and fails, and he cries out, "Licorice! Licorice!" at the top of his lungs.
Okay, and then I punch him.
Okay, and then you punch him. Roll me a unarmed attack.
12.
Okay. You punch at him and he whips his head over to the side, out of the way, and you just kind of glance off of his cheekbone and don't hurt him. You punch him in the beard and it glances off the side of his chin, but his little scruffy, he doesn't have a beard in the bottom, but you can see he's got these enormous, super thick, curly chops that are several inches thick that come down to, just the edge of his mustache.
So what does he do?
So this guy has screamed licorice. You've tried to punch him in your blow glances off of him, and he looks at you kind of wild-eyed, and oh boy, you're burning the delicate. You've walked up to the table where I've been building a house of cards, and you're shaking it violently, and I'm trying to keep all these plot threads and hooks from falling apart, but reward you honestly. Give me just a minute.
If it's worth it, I'm about to sign off. So if you want to think about it for longer.
Interesting. That would be a really good scene to leave Enion in. We see Enion has a knee on the edge of the cloak of this figure with thick curly chops. His hood has fallen back now. We see a halfling, and his eyes are wide, and he's struggling against Enion, and he cries out, licorice! And Crocular and Jim hear that being screamed out in clearly a halfling voice, and the two of you kind of look at each other and go, "What the?" And then you see a white beam of light coming from approximately where the two of you would imagine that Enion is. And that's where we'll leave Enion, and we'll see what happened with him later.
Bye.
Goodbye!
Bye.
Just like that, he was out of our lives again. All right. Crocular and Jared's not here. I need Jared. Jared's coming back. Do you guys want to take a 5-minute break and somebody besides me who still has a serviceable phone because they're not experiencing, refusal of payment by their service provider, no matter what credit card they provide? So I don't have a phone number. I don't have a really good way to alert him. So if you guys could text Jared, tell him we're meeting back at 9:10, we'll pick up the action.
I will text.
Okay. See you all in 10.
Oh, hey, Jared. I was just about to text you, but we're coming back at 9:10.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks.
We just did the break.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I'll be back. You're muted.
I said, "Zoinks, Batman! I wasn't expecting them to do that."
Wow, DM life.
DM life. Carefully,
Really?
meticulously craft, and watch them dash it to the ground and rebuild it in a moment. All right. And we're back. Crocular and Jim, looking over their shoulders, see a flash of white light come down after hearing the word licorice called out. What do you do? Do you keep running? Do you double back for your...
Oh man, I would double back.
So the two of you run back. It takes you a few seconds. You've been running away for a bit. But you run back and you see a crowd of people. Some of them are pointing and gawking at a space in the dirt where there's just... you see that there's a singed spot and there's some smoke coming up, and you see there's a pile of ash that looks to be a couple of buckets of ash. And that's it. It's there. And yeah, that's what you're staring at.
What happened to just somebody who was already here?
So you see somebody, there's a fellow who's like, I don't know, they were fighting, and then boom, there's a big flash of light. It looked like the two of them got just burnt down to ash right there.
Oh man.
Jim seem to have changed a lot since I was here last. I think we should get to safety immediately. It appears that we are being hunted. We should find Mr. Dom.
Maybe we should grab Enian. But I don't know which one's him.
Crocula, seeing this, looking at the spot, you see the ash kind of just vaporize and disappear. And you see, you look over at Crocular and you see Crocular's eyes narrow. And he says, "We've been fooled." I'm going to put some words in your mouth, Crocular. Would you rather me tell you and then you verbalize it in character?
No, it's fine.
You go, "Jim, my friend, we've been had. This was an illusion." Crocular, you realize that the ash that you were looking at was some sort of illusion magic. There was never any ash here. You roll on a blind roll to use your arcane skill to perceive the truth of the situation. So the two of you are standing there staring at a spot where your friend used to be, but he ain't there. Crocular, with a 20, you're looking at... No, that was like... I just saw you got a glimpse of the ether, in another dimension of magic, hold together all spell energy. You saw the edge of the threads of all magic in the area. You basically, I'm going to say with a 20, it's functionally a bit like, for just a split second, casting detect magic. You get a perfect intuitive sense of the magical energy of the area. You didn't see, it's not like he's actually there invisible, and you walk foot around and to prove that there's no invisible body, and that there's nothing there. He's just gone.
Oh man. Well,
Great. I say, Jim,
get out of here.
it seems like we're being... We should go immediately to Dom.
And Ivan.
And
you see...
Ivan can make his own way. He's probably already dead.
Maybe so. Let's get out of here.
The two of you both make me a perception check with disadvantage.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to be a kind man here. You've done this to yourselves.
Oh wow, 14.
14.
That's good for me.
Crocular? Any?
Nah, 3.
3. Yeah. So Crocular's like, let's skedaddle. He's ready to run. And Jim, you, out of the corner of your eye, you see a figure in what looks to be absolutely disheveled, wretched rags, stumbling towards you with a cup held out.
Oh man. I'm just gonna throw a coin in the general direction of his cup and take off.
Okay, so make me a dexterity saving throw.
Let's see that. 5.
5. Okay, yeah. You see this figure. A hand shoots out from beneath the rags, and you see what looks to be a different, like, you only see it for a split second, but you immediately get the impression that, like, this figure is wearing something else under the pauper robes, and you see a little bit of that, like, around their cuff, like they're wearing an actual cuff, and it looks to be in pristine condition. And they reach out and they grab your coin, and you see with another hand a small tube appears, and they flick it at you. Do you catch it? Do you let it fall?
I attempt to catch it, but I rolled a 1.
Oh no, you don't have to make a check for this.
Okay.
It's not difficult. Like, this person, like, very generously, they haven't like thrown it at you like a speedball, flicked it way up in the air. They're just nice, simple, lobbed it arc to you, and you catch this thing, and you see them just kind of turn and putter off it.
Yeah, I'm taking off and going after Crocular.
Okay.
That was all intended to be real quick. Like,
okay. Yeah. In a moment, you see
like,
Crocular turn to run, and you see this pauper, and you just kind of freeze for a split second, and you go, oh, and you just throw a coin at him. He catches it, throws this thing at you. You catch it, and you just look at him. He disappears for a second, and you turn and you run off after Crocular. You're maybe 30 feet behind him, right? So Crocular and Jim, I'm sure the two of you, in the course of the next minute or so, kind of catch up to each other, and you both see a figure up ahead, unmistakable. He stands a head taller than everybody else, even these elves with their big headpieces and stuff. You can spot Ivan, and Ivan, you are in this sort of gate area. There are a number of guards that you've walked up to and said whatever, and they just haven't done anything. I mean, whatever Ivan says, they do nothing. So you've been in the area, kind of wandering around, looking for a way to get in, and you have found a of garrison gate where the soldiers come in and out. You can see that this is the main gate to get into what seems to be the interior of the Arcanium. This is the gate that separates them from the outside world. But that gate off to the side, that leads into what looks to be a garrison building. And it looks like there's a big stone, like courthouse looking thing, like in the downtown of a city, there'd still be a big stone courthouse. It looks a bit like that. And you can see that there are folks that look like bankers and maybe minor nobility, people in very fine clothes, and a couple of servants and couriers darting in and out through a little servant door. So Crocular and Jim run up to you, and you relay all this to them and give the land of everything that you've found in this area. Good.
There you are. Where have you been?
We were at an art show that was worse than Crocular's.
Turn up your mic or get way closer, because we can barely hear what you're saying, LT.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very faint. I don't know if your audio input device got changed or.
I don't know either. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. You're just very faint.
Okay.
Just be loud.
Ivan, It seems as though we are being hunted. Mysterious figures attempted to kill us, and it seems as though they got Enian. This place is much less safe than I thought it was, or perhaps we are in trouble somehow. I think we need to get to Dom as soon as possible. There seems to be Karenic influence involved.
And as soon as you say that, everybody in the group make me a perception check with disadvantage.
Natural 1.
Nice.
10.
0.
0. Jim and Ivan, you both hear a woman laughing, and it doesn't seem like the kind of laughter of a person scoring full marks on a mental health test.
What was that?
Well, we are torches, so Karen's probably coming for us still. We just, I don't know, how do you deal with guards that you don't want to kill?
Yeah.
We want to get in, but Brick and Rock, they didn't tell us how to do this part. Wait, did they give us an invitation or something?
Yeah, we have a letter or something from them. We have a scroll that we're supposed to give to Dom Delabamba Bromble Monster.
Oh, great. Crocular, you didn't paint over it, did you? Can you show it to them?
I don't have it.
I think I've got it. Either I have it or Veda has it. I forget which.
I would have put it in my inventory if I had it. I still got that book.
You guys all look around for Veda. Like one of you, Jim's gone. We lost Jim. So all of you, somebody mentions the name Veda, and there we go. We got him back. So Jim says the name. Jim says the name Veda out loud, and all of you need to roll me a Constitution saving.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Oh.
I'm gonna use a luck point.
13.
13.
19.
Ivan, 13. All of
19.
you.
19.
19.
Yeah.
As soon as Jim says that, Jim kind of, you see Crocular and Ivan both dead, but then Crocular and Jim both kind of grab at their head and their body at the same time, and you see them both collapse and vomit onto the ground as they, seem to have something like a seizure for 1 to 2 seconds. And then as quickly as it happened, you see them kind of catching. See that they're gaining control of their breath. You felt wild, sickening sense of vertigo and inebriation, and you both have kind of flickering images. If you try to remember what you just saw, you saw like 97 images in a few, like maybe 30 seconds, right? As far as your brain goes. Kind of experience like in a dream, in dream time, the frame much faster. And you saw images that you thought you remembered, but as you remember these scenes walking around on the deck of the ship, you somehow just don't, you remember them with the quality of a dream. You realize there's something entirely false about your memory of Veda being with you for days, weeks back, and you can't quite tell. Like, all this is happening in a moment. So you just have that vague impression of oh no, none of my. Like, I believe that Veda is a real person, but and that was what made you hit the ground, is you just have this level of cognitive dissonance between what you think reality and the trustworthiness of your memory, and it just rips you apart at the level of and you hit the ground and threw up. So you're kind of staggering in this moment of loss of your own memory.
What? Something
A
weird.
perception check. No disadvantage or anything, just a perception check.
$19.
Okay. You saw when Jim fell to the ground, you scroll hit the ground. And you saw, like with a 19, your eagle barbarian eye, you see a little sigil on the edge of this tube, and it looks to be some sort of crystal with the letter D.
Sorry, real quick. Could you tell me
Yeah.
in one sentence the import of the thing that
That just
me and
happened?
Jim realized? Yes.
You guys just realized that has not actually been with you for some time. You realize that the memory that you being around.
No. Sorry. You just entered another sentence.
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
one
That's
sentence,
it.
bro.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
You
Veda.
realize that Veda is not with you and has not been with you for a while. And you feel like you just depart like a piece of paper.
Which is disturbing, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Sorry, I've been sitting on that one for a while. You guys haven't actually said her name out loud
Yeah.
for a while.
Oh, man.
That's all I'll say. Go ahead.
Oh, there it is. Ivan's gonna reach down for the scroll and pick it up.
And Ivan may be thinking that this is the scroll, when in fact this is actually the scroll that the popper tossed to Jim. So Ivan, you pop that open, and you see a phrase written down on a piece of paper in very fine flowing ink with what is obviously a very high quality quill. And it says, Brick's favorite game, Rock's favorite place. Wait there. And then the paper goes up in a puff of flame.
What? Bricks? And then I'll repeat it to them.
Go for it.
What was Brick's favorite game? He liked to hit stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you knew this at some point.
Everybody make me a history.
Okay.
Jim, I you roll. It's in character with this,
man.
weak, feeble, overwhelmed guy.
I should be able to do history, though. With
15.
a +4, I got a 6.
Ivan?
9.
In history? Did you make the check?
A 9.
Oh, yeah, I did.
A 9. Okay. Crocular, you go. I'll stop. You know that it's checkers. You can relay that information.
His favorite game is checkers. Also, I now suspect that we are not in the real world.
Oh, no.
Wait.
The door next to you
How
turns into a
supposed to-
mimic and eats you. I'm just kidding. You remember that his favorite game is checkers. And then what was the other half, Ivan? Brick's favorite game.
Rock's favorite place?
Yes.
Is there a place here called
Yeah.
Checkers? What were those
Or-
inns again?
And what was the name of that dive bar?
The inns that are in the town surrounding the Arcanium are the Singing Serpent, the Dappled Pond, the Burnished Bucket, Tag in the Box.
Okay.
What about the Dappled Pond? That's like checkers.
Sounds like checkers.
As soon as you say that, you guys
all remember you couldn't get Rock
very chatty about much.
but if you ever asked him about wanted to ask him a question to get him off course therapy, anything about, and he would just get enraptured about the
Rivers and the lakes
and the ponds and the ocean that he had just hours just floating through. That's his happy place. It's being in the water. So Ivan's
Let's go.
pond.
Is that Pond? Pond?
Oh,
Mhm.
Pond.
Oh yeah.
The
okay, so
dappled
it's like a checkerboard and a pond. All right, done. It's like a checkerboard and a pond.
All right. Yeah, let's go there. Hey, let's not throw up again, too.
Let's try not to do that. I think
Also,
things are weird.
I believe it would be wise not to interact with anybody or anything in any way before we get there. Something very strange is afoot.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was
seems
doing.
good.
so
You are wiser than I.
So
Ivan's gonna go straight for that.
you guys double back and start heading back into town. And Crocula, you know that this the dam is a
Blocks away from that
kind of main plaza area, so you have to go
general direction, that general
part of the city. And as you're, remind me what everybody's passive perception was.
8.
12.
13.
13. Ivan, up ahead, you spot right around the same time, you see some monks in who are they have a couple of people walking along with them, and they seem to be interrogating the people while they march sternly. And as they see
and you see one of them next to him,
the
guy who you make
eye contact with looks away and looks back down at people, but you see a man behind him looking at Jim and Crocula, tapping vigorously on his captain's shoulder and pointing next to you.
Okay, assuming we're still in a crowd, Ivan's gonna kind of squat so that his head's not sticking up above everybody, and be like, "Did you guys make some trouble on the way?"
Not on purpose. People who
Okay.
made trouble with us.
Yeah,
Looks like-
Onion started shooting at people, and we needed to clear out of there.
Wait, Anian was here?
Yeah,
Didn't he get taken by the ninja?
You think
Pwn.
no, that's
You're thinking of
Pwn.
Pone.
Oh yeah, okay.
Ivan would know that. Yeah.
All right, let's go roundabout.
I believe the Karenites are after us.
Yep.
Everybody make me a wisdom saving throw.
-1.
10.
11.
Jim, your ear suddenly
Bro,
tremendously, and they are now like
Wow.
8, 9, 10 inches above the top of your head. They look like rabbit ears, and you see your suddenly morph into rabbit legs, so you look a bit like a satyr but with rabbit legs and legs.
What the heck?
Yeah.
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 You now have
see that?
Casting a
proficiency.
spell.
You now have proficiency for the moment in perception, and you'll actually have advantage on all perception checks made with hearing. And your speed has increased by 10 feet, so your speed is now 4 instead of 30.
And we see him like this.
Oh yeah, yeah. You guys see Jim sprout ears, and he is in height because his leg. And he is now a kind of a rabbit man.
Oh, guys, sorry. I think my
Crocula
wild
says to
magic is
Jim-
going crazy.
We are clearly in the dreamscape, so this transformation probably has some therapeutic purpose. Tell me, Jim, how does it make you feel to be a rabbit?
I can hear everything.
You hear those elven guards up. Elven guards. Those figures. You hear their. You could swear you could. Heartbeats. It's your hearing is so good, and then you realize that it's your own heart pounding in your chest. But you clearly hear them say, "Those are the ones causing trouble. That they were the two that were with the one that disappeared." And you see the heel is his cloak back, and you can see a silver circlet wrapping around his forehead, crescent moon in a central kind of lacquered inlay. You can see a bright silver background that has little starry points in it, and you recognize monks of the Order of the Crescent Moon.
Yeah, Jim's not so good at finding the pieces, but he can put them together pretty well. That's the guy that they were calling for. We need to get out of here.
Ivan's going to try to stealth through the crowd.
Roll me a stealth check. Do you gentlemen join endeavor?
If I can do so
Yeah,
in a
sure.
way that does not negatively affect his performance as a giant
Yeah,
rabbit
So
man.
you've got
I'm going to say you've also got proficiency in stealth as a rabbit.
Okay.
You suddenly have incredible.
I'm going to say, logically speaking,
You would at least have proficiency in stealth from this. All right, Crocular.
Okay.
10.
What did you roll? 10. Okay.
5.
Five.
Hold on.
Yep.
Can you tell me, please? Can you please tell me whether I
can.
failed that check or not for an ability?
Yes. So with a 10, you did fail.
Okay. I'm going to expend a use of my Pact of the Talisman boon, which allows me to add a D4 to this roll. And I don't actually have a D4 with me. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Oh, just knocking all my stuff over. Let me roll this D4.
Roll that beautiful icosahedral beam footage.
Okay, so it's actually a 12.
Excellent. That you
successfully
slip out of view of these guards. And Jim,
I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to use one of my lucky things to try to get another shot at this. My first roll was a 4, and this one is a 16.
excellent. You make it as well. So the two of you see Ivan keeps trying to stand up to look around to see where they are. And Crocular and Jim, you guys both at the last minute will grab him and snap. And then the camera sees just a second later the eyes of the elves scanning across. And it's just been pulled down below. And you guys manage to, out of eye shot of these monks, you can hear furious shouting. The one who's clearly in charge is shouting orders to the two of the men next to him to split up and find them. Make me, if you're in a contested skill check, tell me what skill you would use to try to get away from these guys, and I will appropriately contribute the skill counter.
I am going to
Ivan's going to
Deception?
sneak.
As
Gonna keep
in
sneaking
try to
Crocula?
look like something else.
But Jim, I have +6 at deception. I was going to do deception.
Uh,
Jim's like, another list of things I'm good at.
So
I'm
sure.
an actual rabbit.
Or you
And
could help
they're all
somebody.
they're all the same thing as he's good at.
Yeah,
So
tell
I'm
you what.
going to I'm going to
Do it.
use my I'm going to use gosh, I have a feature which allows me to make a silent image.
Okay. You're going to use an ability. That's great.
Yeah, but
Sorry, I forgot
I'm
to
gonna use
repeat
it
that.
in a way that's deceptive.
Yes.
So you've got
In these skill encounters that you guys,
redone one from the night.
I'd love for you guys to be able to either use a skill or a class feature, but then you narratively tell me what it looks like when you use it. So
Okay.
Matt Crocula will
Use
silent image to try to deceive these monks that are pursuing you.
Yeah, so this is I can create the image of an object, a creature, or some other visible phenomenon that is no larger than a 15-foot cube. So I think what I do is I create an image of some opaque barrels, and we crawl into that image. And the misty image is not transparent or anything. It looks like the things, and we crawl in there. And
Silent image, right?
Sorry. It is silent image is the spell.
Yeah.
Misty visions is my trait.
Sure. Very
my eldritch invocation. So there's some
you make an image
invisible
of
barrels.
a bunch of barrels.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do a
And we
Kansas
can-
City shuffle misdirect.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're hiding behind these barrels as we make our way, past them into some alley or something.
Oh, you're making cover for yourself. You're
Yeah.
putting up an image behind you to cover your tracks. And that absolutely just like there's no need for anybody else to make a skill check in this encounter. Tell me what the spell save DC is, and that's it.
It's purely visual. There's no save.
There's
physical interaction with the image reveals it to be an illusion because things can pass through it.
Dirty.
A creature that uses its action to examine the image can determine that it is an illusion with a successful. So if somebody actually examines it, like, is this thing real or not? They can make an
Sure.
investigation check against my spell save DC, which is going to be, I think, 12.
Yep. You guys duck down a little side alley, and Crocula throws up just the giant cistern, like several, like 8, maybe 2 foot wide, 7, 8 cisterns. You saw before.
This seems to be a common giant unit of water.
That you see carts will ship around. Empty ones are being hauled away, full ones are being brought to different places, and
you guys just
disappear behind them, and you can hear anger and shouting, and eventually you hear what was the spell save DC once they do interact with it?
12.
12. Okay. Yes.
I think.
While you guys have already turned a couple of more corners.
Sorry, 14.
14. Okay, then no, the guy, we see the camera that's still back on the action, and we see the guy run right past the barrel. He even kind of ducks out of the way of it, but he got right up close to it and just totally, and didn't even look down the direction of the ran down. So you guys have gotten scot-free away. Very, very competent, elite manhunters. You guys, when you first spotted 1 or 2 of these guys, the Order of the Crescent Moon monks are basically like, there are guards and patrolmen on the Arcanium. There's a lot of wealth here. There's a lot of powerful magic users. When things go bad around, you need some beefy boys to do the bouncing. So these are like level 8 monks that you guys just slipped away from like a jackrabbit. Congratulations.
Har 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 har.
So you guys, So you guys, it's not even a pun. It's just using a simile of what he is. It's so dumb. So you get to the dappled pond, and it, stumbling in, the bartender, a red-haired woman, takes, you can tell, you see that she's been, her head's been darting to the door. You can see it's an instinctive thing. And she immediately darts her head towards the door, clocks the three of you. She looks at you first, and then she looks over at you.
And she looks over at you, Crocular, and she goes,
Uh-huh. But you see her eyes squint, and she immediately,
out from behind the bar,
expedite, trying to look too, ostentatious or anything, and walks up to the three of you guys personally. You see her, she kind of cuts off and diverts fluidly women on the floor, and she says, "It's all right, dear, I've got this one. Gentlemen, well, pond, I hope that you'll find this to be a place of safety and relaxation. I trust you'll be staying with us until you're meeting a friend." And she kind of looks at all of you and raises a very special friend.
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
Dom.
I look expectantly at Ivan.
Okay. Ivan goes,
Dom the gnome.
That's her head.
She accepts the safe answer. Crocular
says something.
Crocula says, Dom the gnome.
Okay, she goes,
Just lower your tone and
follow
follow.
me. And she turns and walks past the bar, and past kind of an open common room. You can see more than a dozen tables, and it's mostly full.
Most of the guys look a lot more like
Ivan than like Crocular or Jim. Everybody is brisk here. I mean, there's one guy who's got to have like 87 visible daggers strapped to leather loops and sheet. You see one barbarian, a Goliath type, over in the corner, and he's just got one man sword with a hilt that looks like it's more than 2 feet long, sticking up above his shoulders, and he's got that strapped to his kind of a piece of wood between the blade and his body, and that's on top of a giant animal skin that he's wearing. And these are mercenaries and fighters. You clock that just from scanning the room. But she walks you past all this, and you enter into a dining room kind of area, and you can see that there's a bard over in the corner sitting in a big fat leather chair who's lazily strumming away and drinking some wine, and there's a serving woman standing over him and just kind of giggling and laughing, and she's clearly trying to get his attention, and he's clearly somewhat drunk. And as soon as the owner of, you assume that this lady's the owner, she's carrying "This is my place" vibes. She looks daggers at the young man, who kind of yelps.
She says, "Just go, get out of here.
This is not your room. You haven't booked it."
Private
Corners of my facility. And Jesco looks at her and kind of weeps. "Don't worry, I'll just find some other dark corner to crawl into." And he grabs the wine in his cup, and you see he's still kind of idly with plucking away that's slung on a strap around his shoulder. She and kind of
closes the door and puts her ear
to the door. Kind of, you see that she's like listening for him to walk, and she spins around and looks at you and goes, "This is fully half."
I believe that they've been murdered by Karenites.
As soon as you
That's
see, make me a dexterity saving throw.
$19.
Yeah, you jerk your head back just in time as she goes to hand over your mouth. Like between the time of saying "ke" and "renites," you've in a moment pulled your hand away, and you see a glass orb around her neck. She's got a little bauble on a chain. You hear the high-pitched but quiet sound of glass not just breaking but shattering, and you see that this sphere of glass, this kind of marble, now has a spider web pattern to it. And she goes, "Damn fool, boy! This is my last one. Don't see that. Do you understand me? Do you have no idea? Do you take a spike of iron and run around along the beach when the lightning storms come? Do you
I have
go
done that, yes.
walking on the edge of the cliff when the wind is coming?
I believe that Jim has often done that as a
Oh,
pastime.
not anymore.
Sorry, ma'am.
All right, I see good sense won't come to nothing, so I'm going to give you some of mine.
That's
Hush your
true.
tongues.
That's
Don't
true.
say that. Now, don't trust any. Obviously, you've got to trust me because I'm telling you don't trust anybody in this city. But of course, that'd be the first thing that somebody going to double cross you would say, isn't it? So be thinking along those terms. Dears, I won't double cross you, I promise.
Okay, thanks.
And you see her kind of laugh. And you get a read that make me an insight check. Everybody make me an insight check.
17.
3.
Ivan?
Three.
3.
Three.
Ivan and
17 for
Crud
me.
immediately go, oh crud. Oh crud. This lady's gonna sell us out. And Jim, you go, oh, that was nice of her. Like she specifically said something that like she would have to like give, you know, in D&D terms, she said something that automatically gave you. So
Mhm.
she said, puts her narrative out there and gives you a chance to really judge her. And you're like, okay. And I see, yeah, okay, that was nice of her. Yeah, we can trust her.
I give her
And-
10 gold.
Oh, you see, she kind of, and she pulls out and whips it open and shows it to you. You can see several platinum in there. And she's like, I've been paid a far sight more than that to take care of you, boy. You're not going to buy any more favor with your chump change. Dumps the 10 gold back into your hand.
Worth a try.
He kind of sits you down at the table and says, all right, now, give you to straight as possible, and I know that's going to be for the 3, judging by what you are already, I can see. But I want you to give me the straight and skinny of what happened to your friends and you on the way here, how you all got lost. We'll see together and make some sort of solution of this situation. Our friend is Eve. He said, we must all have questions. He says he knows that want answers. He says he's sure that you've all heard that he's a great wizard. Just to say you don't know the half of it. And she gives you all like kind of a everything's going to be. I can smell the horse offal that on just stepped in and drugged my. So do me a favor, if you and hello, and just stay here. Don't stick your head out. Don't give it. Don't go tear. I need you to consider me your own man. Pretend that you're wee infants, wee bairns in a crib. You know, without crying for me. So if any of you needs to do anything more, leave yourselves adjacent room. And she walks over and opens the door, and you can see there's a little private restroom here. And she slams the door again and looks at all of you. Don't leave this room. With some fine supper, drink, and we're going to hash this out. And she steps out of the room. You can hear her walking down the hallway towards what you assume is the kitchen.
Ivan will make sure the door is shut fast behind her.
Yeah, it clicked closed behind her, yeah.
Okay.
And you heard her flip a little placard that you saw. There was a that said, empty or whatever.
Over and it says full.
And there's a, before it was an image of an empty mug, and now you can see sloshing over. And so she's the private placard on the door.
Ivan will obey her and make sure Crocular does too.
It's a self-appointed the floor.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna sit if I can, and try to figure out this
Beautiful
whole
puffy
ear
leather chairs.
situation.
So you've got full-on daggum ears, my man. They're
What the
covered
heck
in
is going
hairs.
on?
They're super sensitive. You realize that you can kind of feel
Wow.
your ears. You realize that you can hear the conversations of people in adjacent rooms if you listen carefully. And you kind of
Are just amazed.
you have never had tendons in your body that were taut, muscles and whipcord like. You feel real upper half
Still feels
frail, and you've got a cough, but the bottom part of your body from your feels pretty strong.
Oh man.
I guess Crocular's gonna hang out.
So
There's a bowl of
grapes
table.
and there's a loaf of bread that's inside of what appears to be kind of folded over linen, and a little cup of and a little saucer of oil of some kind. So there's no wine or drinking in the room. You can see where there's a spot, a little doily, and you go, so that's what happened to the wine. The bard absconded with the table wine. The mystery of the table wine is solved. This has been the world's shortest D&D mystery. So yeah, you guys all tuck in, and after a few knock at the door.
Who is it?
And will return.
Dun, dun,
Episode 14.
dun.
I tell you guys, TPKs, you kind of half obeyed. You've managed to make
It's
it.
not a TPK. Half of us survived.
Make it to the Dappled Pond with 3 of your.
Pretty good odds in D&D land.
So much, everybody, for joining us. If you guys want to stick around for 5 minutes and have a conversation, would be great. But we will